Hi readers, it's Lori. Welcome back to my channel, Books, Ink, and Paper. And today I have my Happy Halloween shirt on because we're going to talk about scary adaptations from books that I have read and liked. Some of them I like the adaptation more than the book, but they're just fun things that I'm watching and noticing these days about adaptations from books that I have read and enjoyed for sure. So let's get started. So one of the first ones, I actually watched the adaptation a while ago, but I'm rewatching it again now because I really enjoyed it. And that is an adaptation of The 13th Tale by Diane Setterfield, who is one of my favorite authors. And this is one of my favorite Gothic ghostly stories. And it was made into a movie in 2013, I think. It's been a while, and I didn't know until my daughter gifted me with the DVD last Christmas. So the adaptation of this, it stars Olivia Colman, who I really adore, Sophie Turner from Game of Thrones, Vanessa Redgrave, a classic actress, and it follows the novel pretty closely. So this story is about an author, Vida, what is Vida's last name? Vida Winter, and she is not well, and so she asks an author to come and write, listen to her story, her life story, and write about her experience growing up and living in this very Gothic mansion that is creepy and twisty. And so this is she's sick and she wants to tell her story to Margaret. And she then, it has the synopsis of the novel anyway is, it is a tale of Gothic strangeness featuring the Angelfield family, including the beautiful and willful Isabel, the feral twins Adeline and Emmeline, a ghost, a governess, a topiary garden, and a devastating fire. I love this, and I was really pleased with the adaptation, as Megan was, and I recommend, if you can get your hands on it, I would watch it. Another one I'm currently finishing, I should be finished binge watching this today, is an adaptation of The Turn of the Screw by Henry James, which I read last year. I gave this 3 stars. It's a bit of a rough read for me. Classic Gothic horror, ghostly horror, and it's been remade into a show that's currently streaming on Netflix called The Haunting of Bly Manor. Now, this is sort of the next evolution of a story series that started 2 Octobers ago, I think, and so these two are kind of intertwined. The other one is The Haunting of Hill House, which was released a couple of years ago, which is a novel that was written by Shirley Jackson. Ironically, they both came out in October. That's certainly very purposeful, but ironically, I was watching that on my way to and from a trip I took to Texas with some friends of mine on a creative retreat. And so I was watching it on my iPad on the plane, and now I'm rewatching it on the big screen because I think that there are some things I probably missed on the smaller screen. Nevertheless, The Haunting of Hill House and The Haunting of Bly Manor are both, to me, great adaptations of the original story. Both follow those storylines and yet take a lot of liberties, and they're both set in a modern setting or modern time. The Haunting of Hill House, I don't know if it really did kind of set a date. It may have about when it was taking place, but it was more in current times, and The Haunting of Bly Manor is set in 1987. I think that both of those are good books for you to read. Classic horror ghost stories, and also just great adaptations. So I love both of them very, very much. Another one that I recently watched, which is currently on HBO, if you have HBO, is Dr. Sleep, which is the sequel to The Shining by Stephen King. I read Dr. Sleep a couple of years ago and really enjoyed it. I was surprised by how much I enjoyed that sequel because I wasn't sure I wanted to read a sequel about The Shining. I enjoyed The Shining very much, and I liked it as sort of a standalone story. But Dr. Sleep follows the character of the little boy who was featured in The Shining. His name is Danny Torrance, and if you remember from The Shining, they were staying in a hotel in the Colorado mountains during the winter when snow prevents people from being there, but there is some maintenance and upkeep that needs to be done. And the dad, Danny Torrance's dad, was hired to take care of the hotel, and it was haunted and creepy. Dr. Sleep takes over with Danny as an adult who's had some challenges as a result of the things that happened to him when he was young. And so he drinks a lot, and he's kind of lost his way a little bit as mom has passed away. And so Danny's story evolves at the beginning where he still has the shining. He still can read other people's thoughts and find and sort of see what's going to happen to them. But he gets himself sober and he starts living this great life in this place that he's found himself with some support friends, and everything seems to be going well until he starts to have this connection to somebody else's shine, and he's starting to see things that he's not sure what they are, but they're pretty terrifying. It's just really well done as a novel, and I really liked the adaptation, which stars Ewan McGregor, and I'm trying to, let me look and see who else the cast of that is. Rebecca Ferguson, she's fantastic in this. A young actress named Kylie Curran, really great performance on her part, and just a good all-around cast. Not some like big name, except for Ewan McGregor, of course, and Rebecca Ferguson. Not as big names in the cast, but really, I was surprised by how well done it was, actually, because the original Shining movie was okay with Jack Nicholson and in that cast. It was all right. In fact, Stephen King actually hated it when it came out, and then they did a remake of it as a mini series on television a few years ago, and I actually like that version better. There are some versions of Stephen King novels that have come out on the big screen or the small screen that are better than others. Pet Sematary, while we're talking about it, is another one that came out in the 70s or 80s, I think, and it was really ghastly. And there's been a remake of it that I actually watched on a plane coming back from Prague last October, because that's when I watch a lot of scary movies, obviously, that I liked a lot. So that one was released, I think, last year, 2019. So if you're looking for an adaptation of Pet Sematary, which is very creepy, I love the second one much more than I liked. I didn't even really like the first one that came out of that. It was just awful. I also really enjoy the adaptation Bird Box by Josh Malerman. It is still on Netflix, and I thought it was pretty creepy. It was a very creepy book. I would say the adaptation isn't as creepy to me, but maybe it's just me. But that one follows a bit of a virus, which is a creepy kind of topic right now too, which is kind of an outbreak. And if you catch it, you kind of hallucinate and you do harm to other people, but what it affects is what you can see or what's in your vision or what you're visualizing or sensing is happening. And so in order to combat the virus and the destruction that people are capable of when they catch it, so to speak, they are blindfolding themselves or holing up in houses with people who are not infected. And it's a great story. I do want to read some more Josh Malerman, and I think I heard that another one of his novels is being adapted into a small screen opportunity, but I'm not certain about that, so I can't say for sure. But I really do enjoy his book Bird Box, and I want to read more by him. And the last one I want to talk about is one of my favorite novels by Thomas Harris is The Silence of the Lambs. And I enjoyed actually all of the novels in that series. My favorite, though, adaptation of that novel is those novels is The Silence of the Lambs itself. The first one with Jodie Foster and Anthony Hopkins was, in my mind, the best, and I will generally watch that every October, and sometimes I'll watch the sequels. Just depends on my mood. This follows an FBI student in training to become an FBI agent, and her name is Clarice, and she is tasked with going into the prison to interview a man named Hannibal, and he's nicknamed Hannibal the Cannibal, but Hannibal Lecter, who may be able to give them some information on a current serial killer that they are profiling at the Bureau and want more information about, because he is possibly linked to this particular killer. And I really do enjoy, again, this first one. Jodie Foster, to me, was a great Clarice. They later replaced her with another actress, Julianne Moore, and she was okay for me, but the original Clarice will always be my favorite. And then Anthony Hopkins stayed with this series throughout its evolution into all of the adaptations. I thought he did a great job as Hannibal Lecter. I was always very pleased with his performances. So that is one that I typically rewatch every Halloween. And if you haven't seen it, it's also featured, I think, right now on HBO. It certainly was not long ago. Hannibal is definitely still featured, but you can also rent it in a number of ways. So those are my current go-tos and the ones I'm enjoying the most this Halloween season. I hope if you like scary movies that you will take a look at these, or maybe you already have. Let me know. Let me know what your favorite Halloween or scary, ghostly novel adaptations are, because I'm always looking for new things to watch. Take good care. Enjoy the ghostly, creepy, scary Halloween movies if you like them too. And as always, happy reading. Bye.